Hi, welcome to my channel, The Limitless Infinite. My name is Loretta, or Trinity 6, and this is a space for you to align your mind to higher vibrations and higher frequencies. I am doing this quick video because I watched an interview that Conan O'Brien introduced on the Team Coco YouTube channel. It was Van Jones on George Floyd, and I just wanted to make a quick video on a tool that is available to you to be able to do some individual and collective energetic clearing or healing or transmutation, and this is available to you at any time. And I think it's really important to do, especially as an individual, because if people are doing this at the individual level, it will affect the collective energy, but then also for your own sort of individual spiritual journey. So the tool that I am talking about is the law of forgiveness. I've done a previous video explaining a lot more in detail on how this law works and how you can apply it as part of one of your spiritual tools. It's basically a tool for transmutation and being able to clear energies and help clear karma by using this law. And you can check out the video if you want some more details, but this video is really just about a reminder to people that this tool is available and that you can use this on an individual level or on a collective level, especially with the issue of racism coming up right now. I think it's really important because obviously this country has a very sort of history associated with racism because of slavery, and also just because of, you know, like people are going to say now about the Europeans coming and the Native Americans, and the whole country is really founded off of, you know, certain groups of people being sort of mistreated or not treated fairly, maybe is the best way to say it. And given that this country is literally like what they used to tell us in high school is like, this country is a melting pot. It's just a country filled with people from other countries, except for the people who are native to here when before who were first here. But given that we all have to coexist here now and there's so many different kinds of people, it's just really important to know what tools you have in order to sort of transmute anything that's happened to you in this lifetime or in any past lifetime or within your ancestry or your bloodline, and then within the collective energy that we have as being Americans and being citizens of this country. And so the tool, I'll just give you a briefing, is that the first part of the law is that you call on the law of forgiveness to transmute any negative or discordant energy that you have created within someone, that somebody has created within you, or that exists between you and someone. And so what that does is basically it's asking this law to recognize that you have this energy that either you created in somebody else because you did something to them, they created in you because they did something to you, or maybe that just exists between you. Maybe it was like both ways. And then the second half of the law is sending them the fullness of the love of your divine being so that they may be blessed and prosper, no matter whose fault it was. The second part of the law is really just recognizing that you're trying to heal this discordant quarter tether. And so basically when you do this, you can do it on an individual level. I'm making this video in particular. I've made a previous one on the law of forgiveness, and you can use this for anything that you think you have discordant energy with, or negative, or any kind of low vibrational stuff. But this video is really spurred on by what's happening in the country about racism now, and that what we really need in order to be like what Van Jones was supporting is to be like pro-peace, is that we need to be able to start transmuting how we feel about this topic. And part of it is obviously being vocal and bringing awareness that this is still something that's really prevalent. I know my own personal history is that I am adopted and my parents are white, and I have definitely been the victim and the receiver of racist comments and racist energy. I've lived my life being very open to any race. I'm not like that, but I think that has to do with the fact that I have been treated a certain way because of how I look, and would never want to put somebody else in a position of being treated a certain way because of how they look, because I know how that feels. But on the other side, we basically can do this transmutation work individually, and then I just was realizing the other day that we could do this transmutation also into our past lives. A lot of people, obviously, now that people are going through this great awakening, so many people are waking up, they're also getting more aligned with, their past lives and past incarnations. And then also how you have all these energetic ties and karmic ties through your bloodline and through your ancestry. And so there's all this sort of energetic work that a lot of people are doing right now. And so part of that is, if you feel that you have in this lifetime done something, or something's been done to you, or even within your past lives, or within your family, maybe you exist as part of a family, maybe your family's racist and maybe you aren't, but you can actually help do transmutation work for your ancestry, or even just bringing the knowledge to your family that they can do the work, can also provide healing energies. But when we take it on these different levels and we start doing the transmutation work today, that is when we can start changing the vibration of, basically the vibration that we don't want to exist. So racism, has a certain frequency to it. Obviously, it's very low vibrational. And the only way that we can change that, now that what's happening in the country is that we're becoming very aware that it's still there, it's still permeating, it's still resonating, that the only way to sort of combat that is to raise that vibration. And the only way to raise that vibration is to transmute how you feel as an individual about that vibration. And the only way to do that is to, for some people, if you're at this level, is going to be giving forgiveness or asking for forgiveness. That is for a certain level of people. I think if that's what resonates with you, then you, by all means, that's the process that you need to take. But then there's another level for other people and other individuals where you'll be able to call on this law. If you watch the video on the law of forgiveness, you'll see that what the difference is between the two different levels. I don't want to get a whole lot into it right now, but you'll just know. Like, if you're someone that has had stuff done to you and you feel like someone should be asking you, then you're at that level. Or if you've done something to somebody and you feel so guilty, and maybe you're becoming more empathetic about it because of everything that's going on, and you feel that you need to reach out to somebody because you've done something, then that's the level that you're on. And for some other people who are religious, you might feel that you need to ask God or whatever deity that you work with to help you transmute these energies, or you may ask for forgiveness for the things that you've done. And if that's your resonance, then do that. But for other people who are going to be at this other level, it's using this law. Now, the law of forgiveness is just like the law of polarity. It is like the law of attraction. It is a law that can go to work for you. But as I said earlier, it's super important that this law is used in this two-step process. It's almost like the law can't fully recognize, like, not recognize, but like the law can't really be completed unless you really feel the second step of it. So it is a two-step process, and while you might even try it and you might be able to get through the first part, and you may sort of, when you try to go do the second part, you'll have a pretty good, if you know yourself, you'll be able to feel if you're really feeling that you can send the fullness of the love of your divine being to somebody else so that they may be blessed and prosper. And really what that is you're at this level where you're asking to transmute how you feel. Whether you did something to somebody or they did it to you, you just want to transmute that feeling. And the way you fully transmute that is by sending that love energy. And you have to be in that place of being absolutely truthful and honest, that you really feel that love going from your being to this other being, so that you can go through this transmutation and this healing process. And so I was describing before, it's kind of like you have these etheric tethers, these discordant cords. Like if I did something with somebody else, there's a discordant cord that ties me to this person. And I was kind of likening this cord to kind of like, if you imagine that we have this energetic structure that kind of exists all around us that we can't see, but we have these cords and these tethers that go out from us that attach to all different kinds of things and people. And they're sometimes they're there and then sometimes they're not. But when we have discordant cords, they're kind of just still there. And sometimes you don't even realize because it's something that happened to you ages ago and you don't even think about it, but you still have this discordant energy because you never really reached a point of forgiveness, or you never really got the forgiveness. And maybe now you're at the level where you want to address it, or you're even at this other level where you want to just transmute it on your own. But the first step is recognizing that the discordant cord is still there. So that is admitting to yourself that you have either been a victim or a perpetrator of some kind of racial experience, and then understanding that once you are self-aware that that situation happened to you and that it wasn't fully transmuted, healed, or addressed, then recognizing this discordant cord. And what I was saying is that structure, because it is there, that etheric tether, it's basically kind of like a rusty old pipeline, and you sort of pass this energy between this, and it's sort of like this rusty, crummy pipeline because it's discordant, and it was never, you never transmuted it, you never kind of repaired it. So over the years, it's just kind of like this discordant, like not well maintained or well kept tether that exists between you and someone else. But then when you are able to do the second part of that law and you send love, it's like replacing or repairing that discordant, like crummy, rusty old pipe that you're passing, or had like this discordant energy that kind of just resonated in there. Then you're repairing it with a brand new, beautiful pipe, and you're sending brand new, beautiful love energy through it to the other person. And whether you realize it, or I shouldn't say whether they realize it or not, they're receiving that energy. So when it's basically like saying, I know this old structure's here, I'm gonna repair it and mend it by putting in this new structure. I'm gonna heal it, and then I'm gonna transmute whatever energy was in that old pipe, and I'm gonna send this beautiful positive energy. And when you do that, the other person just receives it, and they may not necessarily recognize it within their own life. They may not be aware of it, maybe they are, but when you start sending them that healing energy, it very well could be the catalyst for them to also on their end revisit that event or that situation, and then for them to be able to transmute on their level. So maybe just out of the blue that situation comes up and they realize, oh hey, that happened to me, but you know what, I just, like, if it was me and I did something bad to somebody and then I did the law of forgiveness and transmuted, and then maybe out of nowhere that person just has something happen and that event comes up in the forefront of their mind, especially with all this stuff going on, and then they say, you know what, like, I'm in that place, I forgive that person. Or maybe they're aware of the law of forgiveness and they realize that they can transmute on the other end. So when you transmute on your end and you're sending out all these beautiful love vibes and repairing all these old discordant cords and tethers with these new beautiful etheric tethers with all this charged love, you're actually helping other people to change the vibration that used to exist between you. And when you change that vibration on your end, it essentially, in time, will change their vibration as well. And so when we do this work as individuals or as collective, we really are starting to change the resonance of this frequency. So racism and all the experiences and thoughts and feelings that exist on that sort of frequency, or within these ideas and within these events and situations and memories, that has a certain vibration. It's like obviously very low vibrational, and we as a collective of people, especially in this country right now, we are bringing our awareness to this collective frequency that exists in our country, and the only way to change that frequency is to literally transmute it and bring it into a higher level, and we basically need to bring that frequency, we need to raise that vibration up into something else. And so we do that by starting to do the transmutation individually or into your past lives. If you want to go, if you know that in a past life that you were that kind of person or you had those kinds of energies, you can do transmuting from any past life if you feel you're still carrying those vibrations with you. And you can do it on, like I said, on ancestral level, on a bloodline level. If your family as a collective has a certain kind of vibration towards certain people, and maybe it's not you, but maybe they instilled some values in you and you didn't realize it, you can transmute not just for yourself, but within your family as well. Not everybody is always at the same level of understanding. So being able to, with an open heart, being able to transmute on behalf of your bloodline, your ancestry, your genetics, but also you as an individual in your past life, that will literally, as we do it as individuals, will start raising the vibration of racism as it exists. And I think it can be difficult to understand sometimes when we're talking about it, because you don't necessarily have to be, a lot of people think transmutation is just for people who are the perpetrators or just for people who are victims, and that's not really the case. You can also create discordant energy by getting sort of wrapped up in other people's discordant experiences. So if I had a person, you know, a friend who is Black or African American, and I see somebody of a certain race, or maybe it's a man or a woman, and they treat my friend in a certain way and they're super racist to them, I might walk around later being like, well, what the heck? Why were they like that? And then I might not even realize, or maybe I do realize, that the next time I see a certain person that is that type of person or reminds me of that person, maybe I will act with a certain kind of stigma because of that experience that I witnessed. And that's kind of like, you know, a lot of this can sometimes happen too, because obviously what happened with George Floyd, because it was these police law enforcement officers, it creates sort of some energy within some people that like, oh, like, I think some people just get caught up in the like, okay, we want to be like all police. And it's like, there are a lot of police that do their job really well. And I think that we should just take the time to remember that there's a lot of law enforcement officers that are serving and protecting and doing their job exactly as they stated they would. And they're doing it truthfully, and with the correct, you know, bringing correct justice for people. But it's easy sometimes when we see so many cases that seem very similar, and these same types of cases, these same types of experiences, these same types of situation, and especially when people are losing their lives, it's easy for us to get kind of caught up in that collective energy, just being like, well, no, like, everybody needs to be under this idea of reform, or like right now people are really going off about like defunding police, and it's like, you know, we're taking a lot away from the people that are doing their job right, but we're just getting wrapped up in that stigma too, which is kind of like, okay, it's, you know, it's that idea of being like, okay, well, because this group of police officers or law enforcement individuals are not doing their job, or are, you know, obviously, I don't want to get caught on, but like not doing their job, or treating people unfairly, or not doing, or just beyond that, maybe even taking advantage of their power of authority to do things to people, that all police officers are like that. And so we can't, like I was saying, that is getting caught up in the collective energy. And then what happens is you're creating discordant energy when you start sort of qualifying a whole group as all being the same, and as all being perpetrators of these types of situations, when that's not the case. So I think especially right now, because there's so many protests going on, especially with police, and believe me, I've seen a lot of the videos, and obviously I'm not supportive of people being violent, whether it's police or whether it's people, but you have to be able to understand that people have to be responsible as individuals. Your individual actions, you take responsibility, and we sort of serve responsibility as individuals. And if people are working as a group, then each individual has a certain level of responsibility that they acted as within the group. But, you know, it's a very big generalization, and it's a very big stereotype when we start applying that to anybody that has like that same job. But I wanted to say that because you might want to, or you may choose to, do some of this transmutation work, in the understanding that you don't have to necessarily be a victim of an event. You don't have to be a perpetrator of an event. If you know that at some level that you're creating discordant or negative energy towards another person, and if it was, let's say, unjust or unfair, then this would be a great law to be able to use for you to be able to transmute that energy. But like I said, you have to be able to use your own intuition as to whether or not that is something that has happened to you or that you are experiencing. You have to be really truthful within yourself in order to be able to do this process and this work. And, you know, I think I just, you know, also want to say that you have to also, with your intuition, know what you want to support and what you don't. I thought it was really great that in Van Jones's interview, which I will post the link down below so you can watch it if you want, that he really was expressing a lot in the video that he's just pro-peace. And while shining the light on the situations is essentially like has to be done and should be done, at the end of the day, what we're really looking for is to live in a peaceful country. And however we feel as individuals, that whatever actions that we think we can take as individuals to get us to a more peaceful society, then that's what you should do. Now that's going to be different for everybody. People are going to have different ideas of how to get to that peaceful place, but I really liked that stance because that's a thought form and a manifestation that's really charged with positivity. Being pro-peace, pro-peaceful state of existence isn't having to fight against something. It's not manifesting something that you don't want. It's not saying that this thing that you don't want just will exist and does exist. I mean, racism does exist, so I don't want people to think that I'm saying that, but you know, to be able to change that vibration of racism, which is what I was talking about, the higher vibration of that is to really be like he was saying, in a state of wanting to have a peaceful society. So, I mean, honestly, just changing the vibration is really about doing this work, this transmuting work, and we have to find that place within ourselves as individuals where we can forgive, or call on the law of forgiveness, receive forgiveness with an open heart. And I think a lot of it is until we can do this transmutation work individually or collectively, and like I said, it could be speaking to God or a deity you work with. It could be asking or receiving with people individually in the third dimension, if that's the level that you're at, or it could be using this law. But use any of these tools in order for you to be able to do the transmutating work so that we can shift our focus from this low vibration that exists into, you know, a higher vibration, and being able to sort of imbue more qualities of love, peace, acceptance, to be able to find, you know, a better state of living in the country right now. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this video. I will post my link below for the law of forgiveness and also for the Van Jones interview. You guys should check it out. It was really good. Obviously, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I didn't want to get too far into like my own personal opinion, but just remember that no matter what race somebody is, you have no idea what kind of experiences people have had, but at the end of the day, we're all just people. And fighting for justice for people, I think on the highest level, is being aware of why the injustice occurred. Yes, obviously, especially if it has to do with race, that's very important. But finding justice because somebody was a person. And that person was a father or a son or a brother or a friend or an acquaintance or a work buddy or even a perfect stranger. And that all life has value. There is, to me, nothing more important or less important than anything else. And that at the end of the day, I really think trying to find this place of peace is understanding that we want justice for people because they're people and because they aren't just black or white or Mexican or Asian. You know, yes, that's a topic that has to be brought up if it has to do with what happened, but find justice for people. So anyway, please question or comment, leave them down below, and I will see you in my next video.